thing called brand wars in politics, and I'm supposed to talk about Congress and BJP and how are they involved into something called brand wars. We have to understand the very first thing, what is a brand? Brand is something that is having certain features, that has certain attributes, certain characteristics, certain promises, and as a customer you have certain expectations from it. When I talk about a political party, when I take a name of a certain political party, you have certain expectations from the political party. They have their own manifestos, they have their own agendas, and you as an electorate, you as a person who goes to vote, you have certain expectations and you have a certain kind of image about those parties which makes them a brand. If I talk about Congress or BJP, both of them are brand. Undoubtedly they are very good brands, they are nationwide known brands. If we try to look at Congress, it is something of a vintage brand, a brand that has been existing and which might be generation after generation has been looked by people like us. Maybe my father, before his father, my grandfather has seen Congress, and I expect maybe my son, my grandson is going to look at Congress. On the other hand, there is something which is young, dynamic, vibrant called BJP, which is new into this territory and has recently been gained power and is ruling the center in India recently. We have to understand that the election campaigns and the election propaganda within India has changed in last 4 or 5 years, especially in 2014 elections, because those elections were fought as they are the marketing campaigns, as they are the advertising campaigns, and we have to expect that this is the trend which is going to continue in India. We, the people of India, were quite naive at that point of time, and we might have failed to understand that the election which has been contested was actually contested more by media, was contested more by advertising. Definitely there were certain issues which were being addressed, there were certain manifestos which were being presented to people like us, but there were huge sums which were involved. There were parties that invested something to the tune of 550 crore rupees for the marketing campaigns, for the advertising campaigns, including social media marketing. There were a lot of big advertising agencies, there were a lot of big advertising promotion giants who were involved into those campaigns, and those campaigns were very, very professionally managed. The kind of an image that has been projected of a certain individuals, there were certain manifestos, there were certain promises, there were certain taglines, the punchlines which were created. They were all dramatized, they were all part of campaign, and everything was crafted as a strategy and has been presented to the people of India. And trust me, this trend is going to continue and is going to be the same from now on. Developed countries like Italy and other European nations, they have been having elections like this from ages. If I say this is going to become a trend and the modern elections are going to be more like advertising campaigns which are going to present you a party, a particular brand, a particular proposition which that particular brand is offering to you, and the kind of benefits, the kind of values that that particular brand or a party is offering to you, and you have to decide whether as a consumer, as somebody who has a right to vote, you would like to accept it or you would not like to accept it, and accordingly you have to cast your vote. This thing is going to become soon the war of brands, and these brands are going to contest elections more like advertising campaigns. And we have to understand that advertising campaigns at times might have puffery, they might have a lot of time promises which might or might not come true, but the brand and the brand value and the expectations from the brand and the what brand stands for and the image and the position of the brand has to hold true and has to be respected and has to be considered in the full sanctity. Somehow, if we try to do the analysis of these two brands, we have to understand that the coming brand war, the 2019 elections in India, are soon going to have again these two political giants, the two big political brands contesting against each other, fighting against, colliding against each other. The vintage brand called Congress, which has a monarchical approach, which is almost have a dynastical approach, which has a particular family ruling the party, and we have seen that going from generation to generation, has been offering something called stability to India, has been offered a lot of development to the India, has been able to develop a lot of changes that India has made, the kind of perception that the world has about India. There is a fast developing young brand called BJP, which is more vibrant, more dynamic, which suddenly has brought a lot of dynamism into the Indian politics, which has brought a lot of volatility into the Indian politics. But if we look at the result of both the brands, if we try to compare them, if we try to match them, we find that there is not much of the difference in the functionality of the two brands. It is almost like the two brands are almost similar. The only difference is the kind of packaging, the kind of the advertising campaign, and how those advertising campaigns are offered as the same product with the different packaging and with the different promises. So if we look at the value of the brand and the content of the product, nothing different has been found out. Maybe certain policies